I'm talking to Nik Winchester, who is chair of B100. Nik, we wanted to have a module team perspective, and you're a module chair of this level 1 course in business. Tell us then, what do a module team do?
Well, the first thing to say is, well, the module team is what produces the modules. So when you open your book, perhaps you go on the website and you see all this material, it's produced by a team. Now, I don't know whether the students ever thought about where this stuff actually comes from, but it's a whole team that does it. And you'll find in your module guide or somewhere on the website, it will say something like module team. And you'll see a long list of people, and you'll recognise some people as authors. They're people like me who produce the materials. But there's a plethora of other people designed to support both the production and presentation. Perhaps people who have expertise in producing online materials, in pedagogy, perhaps in supporting the associate lecturers. So really, the whole production and presentation is a group effort. It's not a single individual. I sit here as the chair, but really, we're a team effort.
And there are lots of people in the team, in addition to the academics who are writing the module material, who make it all happen. We've been hearing about some of those in the suite of videos about people who help with the audiovisual material and various other things. So tell us then, how does this work in terms of a successful team? I know for B100 you had a really good collaboration within the team. How do you encourage that, and what is the impact then in terms of what you're producing for students?
Well, I think the first thing is, you get the team together, and I think the key theme for getting the B100 team is, what are we trying to do? We're not a group of individuals trying to tell you about, for example, globalisation, which is one of my key topics. What we're trying to do is produce an experience for students, and we're trying to make the best experience with students and see that as a centre to what we're doing. So when we're all focused on that task, sometimes it's quite challenging to produce modules, and sometimes you need quite a thick skin because we have to draft, redraft and redraft again and get lots and lots of criticism. But what we're doing is trying to produce the best thing for you, the student out there.
So, in terms of producing this module, that then gets made by this team of people, sent out to students, but there's still a lot to do, and in particular as a module chair. Yeah. Tell us about some of those things and why they're so important for students.
Well, as module chair, I have kind of overall responsibility for the quality and process. So I oversee things like the ALs, the associate lecturers. If they've got any questions or queries, I support them. But I also run all the processes about making sure the TMAs are done properly, making sure they're out correctly and refreshed every year. When we used to have an end-module assessment, it's running all the exam process to make sure everything's being marked correctly, everyone's got the correct results, and that everyone's being assessed at the same level. So it's really, as module chair, there's quite a big responsibility, but it's running all this quality control so that you, the student, gets a kind of seamless experience, and what comes out in the end is a correct representation of what you had, and you had the best experience possible.
Now, how do you, students don't need to know all of the measures, but we're very robust in terms of how we make sure things are fair for students. Could you give us perhaps one example of one way that you maintain quality over the module?
So say, for example, your TMAs get marked. Well, actually, we have a peer support network for all the ALs in terms of monitoring, and sometimes I do that myself. So what I do is take a look at how the TMAs are marked and take a group of ALs and just make sure that the same standards of marking and feedback are maintained so that we can learn from each other and make sure quality is the same and everyone's treated equally.
And finally, Nik, could I ask for one piece of advice that you would give to new students?
Well, perhaps one piece of advice is actually something I've told students for a long time, and that's the advantage of writing your TMAs, drafting them, redrafting them and redrafting them again. Well, it's something we say all the time, but it may surprise you. Actually, we take this very much to heart, and you'll find that actually the material has been through a minimum of 4 drafts and 20 people looking at each time, and that's what increases the quality and will create better assessments.
Nik Winchester, thank you very much.
Thanks.